Hey everyone, welcome back to Chess on Ice. Today I want to talk about that sometimes ignored cousin of the four-player curling game, mixed doubles. Me and my curling partner were at a mixed doubles spiel this past weekend, and we did pretty well. We ended up finishing 4-1 and winning the C event. And there was a really interesting situation in the final game that I want to talk about because I think it's important even if you just want to play mixed doubles casually. So, what you see here on the strategy board right now is the standard setup for an end of mixed doubles curling. The non-hammer team has a centerline guard, which can be at any of 6 positions, either right in front or right behind those dashes on the ice, while the hammer team starts with a rock in the back of the forefoot, just biting the back of the forefoot on the center line. This setup is pretty fair for both sides when you're talking about like early in the game or a general end situation. The hammer team's rock leaves enough room that if the non-hammer team tries to steal and lands right on it, they can still get to the button and shake things up a bit without covering the pin. However, the non-hammer team is very happy to have that centerline guard that they can use for a potential steal spot. The hammer team's rock is halfway decent, but not really where they want it to be. It tends to generate a lot of play to the center and a lot of rocks in play, and that's kind of the point of mixed doubles. What I want you to think about, though, is how would this situation make you feel if you were tied with the hammer or up 1 with the hammer in the final end of a regular 4-player game? Chances are the way this would come about is that the non-hammer team looking to steal threw up a very nice centerline guard. You then, trying one of the common tactics to defend a lead, tried to come around to maybe the top 4, top 8 with your hammer rock, but it sailed just a bit deep and settled on the back 4. You'd be very unhappy about this. It really sets up a decent opportunity for the non-hammer team, who gets to throw next, to set up a steal that you're going to have a tough time getting out of. So obviously this is less than ideal, and this is the situation that our opponents found themselves in our final. We were losing by 1, heading to the 8th end. However, our opponents had an option at their disposal. If you're at all familiar with mixed doubles curling, you'll know about the power play. In the power play, the hammer team's rock moves up off of the forefoot and into the corner in front of the tee line, touching the tee line, and sort of bisecting the 8 and 12 foot circles. Meanwhile, the non-hammer team's guard is moved over that same side of the ice. Now, when you watch elite teams use the power play in games, they do it for 2 reasons. Sometimes they use it offensively. Obviously, you have more room to score with the hammer. You have a better chance of generating a 2 or a 3 with much lower risk of a steal. That lower risk of steal is also why teams use it defensively. They use it when the only thing they're worried about is giving up a steal. Obviously, if an end started this way and you had the hammer and all you cared about was getting 1, you'd be very happy. There's really nowhere effective for the team trying to steal to hide. You have a very large area in which you can score your point. Now, if you're playing at a casual level, you may find it difficult to switch back and forth between the different strategies. You may find that you don't do so well with the power play when you're trying to score points. Maybe you overplay your hand a little bit and you do end up giving up some steals. I've heard that from some people who play, and I get it. And if you are just playing for fun or even at a bonspiel and you don't want to use the power play in an aggressive situation where you're trying to score points, this makes total sense. You can stick with playing with just the base setup in every end. However, late in the game with a lead, when you're just trying to avoid a steal, there is no reason not to move the rocks off to the side of the house. Really, the only thing you care about is that the button is open now. The forefoot is open. Really, most of the 8 foot is open. You have a wide area in which to score, at least at the start of the end. A lot more has to go wrong for you to get into a really bad situation. And since you know you need to score, you're going to have to make a draw at the end anyway, most likely. And this gives you a much bigger area to either get that draw or potentially an open hit to put away the game. So our opponents, well, very good curlers, said that they don't play much mixed doubles, and they had been avoiding the power play all week long, and doing quite well without using it. So instead of using it, they continued to set up the base setup no matter what the situation was. And unfortunately for them, that then came down to it being the 8th end of a final where they were up by 1 point with hammer and decided to just stick with what got them there, putting the rocks back on those center line positions. Unfortunately for them, by doing this, they gave us a really good chance to steal the end. And we ultimately did. Actually, my partner made a almost perfect shot in her first one, pretty much covering the pin. And when they couldn't remove it right away, we were able to guard up and get our steal of 1. And then in the extra end, kind of do it again. Things played out slightly differently, but I think on my second shot, I made a little sort of tap and roll behind some guards that had been pushed just off the center line, and they weren't able to get in as we continued to guard up after they weren't able to count early. So nobody was too upset about this. We talked after the game, and they actually even brought up, we probably need to work on our double strategy. And this is not at all to demean our opponents or anything, who we really enjoyed playing with and had 2 excellent games during the spiel. Our only loss actually came to them during the round robin portion, and then we met them again in the C event final. But it was something that came up again, and I think it was very instructive and could be very instructive for newer curlers. So remember, if you're playing mixed doubles and all you need to do is defend a lead, even if you don't normally use the power play, just move those rocks off the center line. There's absolutely no reason you want them there, and so you have the option of getting rid of them. Go get rid of them. Anyway, this has been another episode of Chess on Ice. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, hit the like button, subscribe, all those things that every YouTuber tells you to do. I'll be back with more content in the next few days, and I hope to see you back. Until next time, good curling.